All right. It having reached the hour, of 5:32 p.m., I am calling the June 3rd, 2025 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Ricky.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmember Spudler-Brayton.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Marvin Jacobo with City Ministry Network. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please pray with me. Liberty and justice for all. And thank you, Master. We love our city. You love it more than we do. In the scriptures, you've said that citizens ought to willingly work alongside the governing authorities, since you've established those very elected representatives to promote peace for all, order for all, and justice for all. And thank you, Lord, that you've given us the privilege, whether we agree or disagree, or right or wrong, or we say these things differently. We thank you for each one of these men and women and their willingness to take on the mantle of responsibility of being a public official. You know it's rough being a leader in this generation, whether you're on the dais today or you are in the audience. We all are influencers. We all have circles of influence. We all take on the responsibility of others. And so I say this, Lord, I pray this for our city council members, that you grant them wisdom to govern amidst all the conflicting interests and issues of our times and our communities, the ability to work together in harmony, even as there is honest disagreement, the courage to lead as they ought. And Lord, may each one view all of our citizens with dignity and respect. And Lord, since this is a public meeting, may you align all of us to move our city toward a dream. It's just not their responsibility. It is all of our responsibility, because that's what America is. That our communities would be good places to grow up in and grow old in for everyone. For everyone. And I pray these things in my Lord's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Right. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor. Just a reminder, public comment is 3 minutes, and there's speaker cards at the entrance of the chambers.
Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, will the city attorney report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The council met in closed session today to discuss 2 items, one related to existing litigation and another related to property negotiations. No reportable action was taken.
Thank you. Next is item 1, proclamation declaring June is LGBTQ plus month. I will read the proclamation. Proclaiming June 2025 as Pride Month. The nation was founded upon and is guided by the set of principles that each person has equal rights to their life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This month we celebrate the courage and contributions that the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex community have contributed to the cultural, social, and economic fabric of our city. The month of June was chosen to commemorate the dedication and bravery of those who led the 1969 uprising at the Stonewall Inn in New York. Although this was not the first time LGBTQI people took a stand, the Stonewall Inn event marked a new beginning for the gay rights movement. Pride Month serves as a time to celebrate the progress made toward equality, to honor the history and resilience of the LGBTQI community, and to acknowledge the ongoing challenges and discrimination faced by LGBTQI individuals. The City of Modesto reaffirms its commitment to protecting the civil rights of all people, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, and to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for everyone. We humbly remind the LGBTQI community that they are valued and seen for who they are, deserving of dignity, respect, and support. Now therefore, I, Suze Wallen, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2025 as Pride Month in support of the LGBTQI community and recognize all LGBTQI residents whose impactful contributions to our city make Modesto a vibrant community, dated this third day of June 2025. And accepting the proclamation will be Jessica Parman, Communications Director with Cal Pride, and Roman Scanlon, Executive Director, Cal Pride Stanislaus. Welcome to the podium, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jessica, unfortunately, isn't able to make it today, so it's just going to be myself. Okay. But I am joined with all my colleagues from Cal Pride Stanislaus over here. So, Cal Pride began as an idea that started with Stanislaus County BHRS and our CEO, John Aguirre. They simply wanted a place to be seen, heard, and to create a safe container, a safe environment. They wanted to look at ways in which they could better the community, better themselves, and better the community for the younger generations like myself and my friends over here. What started as just a table conversation amongst friends at the office turned into what now is called Cal Pride. They didn't start this to set out a movement or start a movement or to create anything larger than just taking care of themselves in their own hometown. They just wanted to imagine a better Modesto, a place where LGBTQ plus people could access care without shame, judgment, or even stigma. A space for healing, connection, and belonging. The idea then grew into action. The action became a movement, whether or not they realized it at the time. In 2015, the LGBTQ plus Collaborative opened its doors up at 12th and H Street. And within a couple years from there, we ended up opening up in Merced as well as up in Sonora. Currently, we serve 7 counties and have 3 main offices where we provide services in-house. Today, we're known as Cal Pride, and we operate harm reduction centers. We offer peer support, as well as group support, HIV, Hep C testing, health education. We do trainings for other CBOs and organizations with our own police department. I also sit on Project Resolve to help better the community on a legal as well as a law enforcement aspect. What may have started as a table conversation has become something much bigger, a place where LGBTQ plus people don't just find care and compassion in our center, but they finally have a seat at that table where their voices are heard and their lives are validated. LGBTQ centers like ours are more than just buildings. They are actual lifelines. In rural and underserved communities, especially, they are often the first and only place where somebody could ever feel truly seen. LGBTQ plus people still face higher rates of mental health challenges, homelessness, discrimination, lack of access to gender-affirming care. This isn't because LGBTQ plus people are born with these health conditions or these mental health conditions, but it's a direct result to discrimination and prosecution and persecution that they face each and every day in a world that doesn't typically accept them. Cal Pride exists to close those gaps, to make sure that no one is left behind simply because of who they are or who they love. So at Cal Pride, we lead with compassion and community. with offering the peer support, health education, testing, recovery groups, legal referrals, housing support, and so much more, and all for free and 100% confidential, we're able to help grow our community emotionally, culturally, and geographically. Whether it's someone in crisis or just somebody looking for connection, we're there. The impact is visible in every single day with every single person that we serve. These individuals are also your members of the community. From individuals navigating their own identities to adults finding housing after being rejected, or to those looking for access to life-saving drugs like HIV and Hep C medications, we're offering it in a safe environment. CalPride is often the first safe place that many of the LGBT community members here have ever known. Helping shape more inclusive policies with our advocacy work doesn't just extend the partnerships, but it actually has a ripple effect way beyond our doors. Pride Month isn't just a party as much as they want to say that on TV or what people talk about. It's a declaration that our community actually matters, that our stories deserve to be told, that our resilience deserves to be honored. It's a time to celebrate, yes, but it's also a time to reflect and to remember those who had given up everything so that we could be here where we are today. We want to thank the City of Modesto and recognize that for recognizing Pride Month and for the work that CalPride has done. It sends a message that all LGBTQ plus people are not invisible here, that we actually have a place where we belong, that diversity is a strength, and that dignity, safety, and pride are not privileges, that they are rights. On behalf of all of us at CalPride, we want to thank you for the proclamation and for standing with our community, not just this month or this day, but because of all the help and assistance that you have given us throughout the way, we see it all year long. So thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any comments from council members at this time? All right, thank you so much for being here this evening, and I will now bring the proclamation down and present it. Even out a little bit, maybe? I don't, yeah. Okay. Down just a little bit. I know that that's it. Okay, are we good? Okay. Right there. Are we good? Right.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Thank you, Sonia. All right. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is public comment. As noted on the agenda, public comment will only be in person. Zoom will still be available for viewing and wordly translation. Thank you for being here tonight. The City of Modesto Council meetings are a place where everyone is encouraged to listen, share views, and participate in the decision-making process that benefits our community. Your engagement is valuable, and it helps our council and city staff collaborate on finding solutions that enhance the quality of life for the residents of Modesto. To be fair and equitable, every individual has the right to speak at this council meeting. However, it is imperative that we foster and maintain a respectful environment for the well-being and safety of everyone present at these proceedings. It is the mayor's responsibility to preserve strict order and decorum at all council meetings. Pursuant to the Charter of the City of Modesto, Article 6, the Mayor, Section 601, Powers and Duties of Mayor. The mayor shall have the authority to preserve order at all council meetings and to remove or cause the removal of any person from any meeting of the council for disorderly conduct, to enforce the rules of the council, and to determine the order of business under the rules of the council. Accordingly, the City Council meeting decorum rules are as follows. Please be respectful of all presenters, council members, staff, and members of the public. Please refrain from clapping other than following a presentation. All speakers are encouraged to state their name and city of residence. All questions must be directed to the mayor. Please do not block the view of others by holding signs up during council meetings. Time limits for public comments is 3 minutes, but may be limited at the discretion of the mayor to manage the business of the council. Speaking over others or interrupting while others have the floor is not permitted. Cell phones should be turned off or shall be set to vibrate during meetings. Thank you for your patience and participation as we work together to address the issues impacting the community. Maintaining order and decorum during the Modesto City Council meeting is crucial in the effective governance of Modesto and ensuring the council's decisions are reflective of the community's priorities. Anyone disrupting the council meeting may be asked to leave. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda. You have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to address the City Council is asked to follow the rules of decorum. The rules of decorum are posted at the entrance of the chambers. I will read from the speaker cards in the order that they were received. There are a couple of cards that I noticed that may have something to do with the budget and regarding Measure H, but I'm not sure if that's when you were planning on addressing that item or if during now in general in public comment. But the first one is Vicky Morales, and this was the one regarding Measure H. So did you want to speak now or during the budget item? Okay, welcome.
Thank you. First of all, I am Vicky Morales. I've been in Nassau County my entire life. For the last 20 years, I've been living in the Woodland West area. And first, I'd like to thank all of you for all your hard work on the council. I know it's a lot of work, and we appreciate being able to come and voice our opinion. Okay. One of the first things I noticed when I moved into town was that when the electricity goes off, you still have water. I think that is fabulous from living out in the country all those years. In the past, I've complained about the leaves not being cleared, as well as new trees not being sufficiently watered. But I must say that since Measure H was approved and funding became available, things have really changed. People who had not been able to get trees trimmed or removed are now getting this service. And as soon as the stump removal contractor was hired, the stumps started getting removed that had been on the list for many years. Trees planted a few years ago have had the dirt around the base arranged so that the water now stays and soaks in. Previously, and this was before Measure H, the dirt was in a mound and I would see them water and the water would just run off onto the sidewalk and into the gutters, and they did the trees absolutely no good. Also, now the walkways are being cleared in a timely manner. And all, of course, this stuff has improved the health of and safety of our trees and have made our yards look better and have contributed to a better mood among the neighbors. So it lifts the spirit of a whole neighborhood and the spirit of Modesto. And I really appreciate the help for the west side of Modesto. Thank you.
Thank you. That was refreshing. Thank you.
I'm not used to that, Mayor.
No clapping.
Are we allowed to clap? No clapping?
I know. All right. Next is, thank you so much. Next is Jean Richardson.
Uh-oh.
Pressure's on, Dean.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members. And good evening, City Manager and Attorney. My name is Dean Richardson. I'm a longtime Modesto resident. I live on Enslin Avenue. Isn't it a great time of year to live in Modesto? A couple weeks ago, we had Porch Fest, and thank you. A couple of years ago, we had Porch Fest, and in a couple of days, we get Graffiti Weekend. So exciting, good stuff. Some of you know that I'm a member of a group of residents known as Urban Forest Modesto. The group started in the college area neighborhood and has now spread throughout the city with the help from Modesto Neighborhoods, Inc. We are working to build a partnership with the Forestry Division for a sustainable urban forest, similar to how the Modesto Garden Club supports the city's efforts in beautification. Thanks to Measure H, the police and fire departments are making our streets and homes safer. Our parks are being rejuvenated. And there is a renaissance, or this renaissance is helping the City Forestry Division, where nearly 1,000 dead trees and stumps have been removed. The department has a plan to reforest our city after 2 decades of decline. This year, they are on track to plant 500 new trees. Since January, approximately 250 trees have been planted, and in November and December, another 250 trees are scheduled to be planted. I have a vision for our city, and that is to have a world-class urban forest on a modest Modesto budget. With intention, patience, and your support, the urban forest can be an amenity every resident and visitor will enjoy. It will enhance the quality of life by contributing to contentment and health for generations to come. I want to ask you to please keep the urban forest in mind, and specifically the Forest Division. If you'd like to contact me, please write to urbanforestmodesto@gmail.com. I want to thank each of you for significantly improving the quality of life in Modesto. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
2 for 2.
Next is Brad Hart.
Pressure's on.
Good evening. I'm Brad Hart's introducer for the evening. My name is Susan Beasley. I'm one of the volunteer board members of MoBand. And we are here to give you, because this announcement is audience participation, all of you have a writing implement, correct? Okay, we're all going to do our la-la-las. And la 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 la. So that is what we're going to be doing on Thursday night. And you all wonder, the important part of the conductor, right? Everyone has to follow what the conductor does. And it's my privilege and my honor to introduce to you our new MoBand conductor, Mr. Brad Hart. And also unable, yes, we can give him a round of applause if that's allowed. Unfortunately, our assistant conductor, Mr. Will Melendez, is not able to be here. But I do want to introduce him and have him issue an official invitation to you to MoBand.
Thank you, Susan. And of course, I am a resident of Modesto, growing up here, moving here when I was 3 years old. I'm really excited to be the new conductor of the Modesto Band of Stanislaus County. Growing up, having played in the band, having watched the band at Grace Ada Park with that Mancini Bowl. It is a wonderful collaboration. Really thankful to the city and the Parks and Rec Department for all of the contributions they make year in and year out. It is how Modesto Band of Stanislaus County is able to enter its 106th season as healthy as we are. Last night at our first rehearsal, we had 138 musicians at our community band rehearsal, ages 14 to about 84, which is a unique experience here in Modesto across the country, that we have a free community band for members to join. Their only requirement is that they have passed 8th grade. They bring an instrument, we provide the music, chairs, stands. City Parks provides us a great place for us to play. We have a great facility from county to be able to continue to rehearse at. We're really excited to kick off this summer on Thursday night at 8 p.m. at Grace Ada Park. Our theme this week is Across Town, and we are really celebrating both Modesto and its graffiti weekend coming up. We're celebrating California. We're celebrating musicians like Dave Brubeck, who grew up in Stockton, celebrating groups like Tower of Power from Oakland Soul. We are getting all of this wonderful stuff going as part of this beautiful community band and experience we have here in Modesto. And I'm really excited to continue these next 6 weeks. We do have one Wednesday concert this year on June 18th, and we know that everybody's going to want to come out because we know that this week is just the start, that we're in the low 90s in temperature. So everybody's going to be able to come out, enjoy the shade, enjoy the beautiful grass, new trees that have been planted at the park, and be able to enjoy a wonderful and unique community experience and a great partnership between a lot of community musicians and the City of Modesto Parks and Rec Department. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next, we have Maya Carter. Maya, or is it, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, M-A-Y-A, Carter? Welcome.
Thank you.
And you
Good
can
evening.
bring your buddy with you if you'd like.
That's my grandson.
All right.
You want to come?
Don't want him to sit back there all by himself. There we go. Hi there.
Say hello. Hi, I'm Maya Carter. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm here not only for myself, I'm here for the less fortunate and those people who are low to no income, those who have tried to get placed but to no avail, they gave application fees and were continually denied, as myself. I'm one of those ones that fall in the category of both. As I was putting in applications, I was hurt, me and my pockets. In fact, either, thank you, sir. Okay, the fact that is that certain property agencies, they take your cash, and then they say that they're going to use it for either for application fees. For application fees, and they sent me a letter stating that I didn't have enough rental history, but I have the credit and I have the cash at the time. So if they would have looked at my application, they would have noticed that I didn't have the rental history. And I fell at that moment. I've done that a few times. Some of them asked me to come back and they would help. But everyone doesn't have $50 to give every time they put in an application fee, because some people don't make 2.5, 3 times the rent, and some of us are just trying to do better and live better. When they asked me, when I received the letter that stated that I didn't have enough rental history, I started lying. I started asking people if they can help me, say that I have rental history, that I rented a room here, I rented a room there, try to, and they worked for it, but then when that was said and done, they ended up saying, well, we can help you if you could come back later. So, and during Porch Fest, I heard one guy I was over there by Insulin Park. I heard one guy tell his friend, I'm over at the bum park. And I don't think that's fair, because some people aren't trying to just be there and be bums. They're just trying to have some place to be. Some of them they probably have alcohol problems or addiction problems in some sort, as when I was being down and out, I turned to alcohol myself. I went to recovery. I have a place to live over there at Jenny's place, and there has to be a solution to the situation, because there are a lot of people out there that would enjoy having a home, a place to call home, and at least to have a grandson to take their place too. I thank you for hearing me, and I appreciate you.
Sure.
You guys have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, excuse me, Allison, it feels like maybe there could be some more communication or something, just to get some things clarified. If Allison can share her card, then maybe we can follow up with you. Thank you.
Okay, and Amber, she's the one that asked me to come up here and speak. I didn't see her here today, but I appreciate her asking me to come.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Benjamin Nuttall.
Hello. I'm good seeing everyone here today. I'm a resident of Modesto, 53 years, local, just started a local business, owner here in Modesto. I've been in Modesto, like I say, my whole life, except for maybe a few years when I moved to Pensacola, Florida. I have a few concerns as it relates to, it was good hearing about the, the Pride Month and, all that just happened to fall on Black History Month too. And here in Modesto, I've been here, I can recall every county here in Stanislaus County that wasn't friendly to people like me. And that goes from Keys to Waterford to Riverbank to Oakdale to Turlock, just throughout Stanislaus County. And my issue is that, being from the west side of Modesto, and we don't see a lot of support as it relates to small Black businesses. It's almost like we don't exist. And I understand that, everybody is, we've been hearing that term, people of color. I have no problem. I love all people. But when we say people of color, it kind of puts everybody, which everybody should be just one, but unfortunately we live in a time where it's not that. But my point is that I'm looking for the city to do more of an outreach to the Black community as it relates to businesses and because we, throw around money like it's nothing, but when it comes to the Black community, it's almost as if it doesn't matter. And to me, it does matter because people in my community that I go back to, they're looking and they're saying, well, this is why we don't do this. And I had an incident with a police officer that stopped at me for my credentials. I showed him my credentials, but there was another young lady of Latino descent where he drove down there. He pulls over, has his lights flashing and all that. When he stopped, no problem. But when he went down to her, he didn't do that. And so I took issue with that because, I just felt like, what time is up?
It is.
Okay.
Go ahead and finish your
just,
thought.
But like I said, I just want the city of Modesto to reach out to us because we want to be able to go back and tell people in the community that you can make it, that you can, because I'd rather for a guy to be selling bananas on the street than a guy to be selling drugs. And that's like I told the police officer, there's more, we live in this county, the fentanyl is crazy here in this county. And so when we take the time out to hem up a guy that's legitimately trying to make something of himself versus somebody that's out there really committing crime, it becomes a problem. And I have been able to reach out to Mr. Jones here. He has, really been able to, to help guide me in this direction. And so, but like I said, that's all I wanted to say. I just want someone to be able to reach out to us, and so we can get a place carved out for us, just like they have a place carved out for Latino vendors. We
Okay.
need a spot for African American vendors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Next is Terrence Lane.
Thank you, Mayor. To piggyback on Ben's, has a business. We have a business called Hotter Than Fish Grease. And it's like a movement we're doing it's bigger than us. Being a native here, born and raised in Modesto on the west side of California, we haven't had it easy at all. So, again, we're trying to do something that's bigger than us. We want to start a business that it's pretty much like in our generation will be the first African-American business in Modesto, soul food restaurant, hotter than fish grease. So we did get pulled up on by the police on Mays and asked for credentials. He parked on the opposite side of the street, flashing lights and whatnot. And we thought they were there for something else, but he was there for us, asked us for permits and all of that stuff. Like he said, fine. But we're not seeing that same action toward our counterparts, our other counterparts. We make up 3 to 4%, the Black Americans here in Modesto, 3 to 4%. And out of those 4%, I can count on my hands how many Black-owned businesses that are in Modesto. Not only that, there's a statistic that says there are 1,119 minority businesses in Modesto. And out of those 1,119 businesses, again, I can count on both hands the Black-owned businesses that are here. We're looking for support. We're looking for support from the city. We feel that the city makes us do more than they do the Asian community, the Asian community, the Latino community, the Indian community. We just feel that we're told to do things that they're not told to do. Porta potties, sinks, all these different health things that they're telling us to do. I haven't seen a porta potty at the taco trucks, and I bought 1 million burritos down at there, Jessica's, since I was a youth. We supported these businesses here in Modesto. We're not criminals. There's no need for the police to pull up on us with his lights on and all that. There should be, as my sister Gina said, it was in the paper that they wouldn't be doing that. That would be a community officer coming out to deal with those types of things. And like Ben said, that there's other crimes that the police should be concerned about instead of those permits. We want to be treated fair. That's it. We want an equality. We just want to be treated fair from our city in which we were born and raised in. Just like in a basketball game, we don't want the referee calling fouls on one particular team more than the other. Have that same energy you have to those other nationalities as you do to us. That's what we're asking. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Milt Treeweiler. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. Milt Treeweiler. I'm a lifetime Stanislaus County resident. Last month, I took a road trip to Prescott, Arizona. Traveling south, I drove through the great agricultural farmland of our San Joaquin Valley. As I traveled through this area, I was aware that in the next 14 years, California will need to fallow 900,000 acres of farmland south of Stanislaus County. As I left Bakersfield and headed through the Tehachapies, I thought about the Garden of Eden we have here in Stanislaus County. Are we going to turn it into a food desert? I hope not. We have an intellect and we have choices, and yet a few people are choosing not to conserve the priceless resources we have. We must be good stewards for our children and descendants, since they cannot do this for themselves. They can't do it for themselves because they're too young or they haven't been born yet. There's not 1 acre of farmland in some entire states and even countries as good as the farmland in the area next to Riverbank, or as the farmland in the area north of Turlock, or as the farmland in the areas all around Ceres, Houston, Modesto, and unincorporated Salida. Stanislaus County's farmland can grow food for hundreds of years because of the soils and the water we have in the TID and MID irrigation districts and the climate we have in our county. There is an abundance of poor soils and wastelands in California and our nation for the developers to build houses on, like the Altamont Pass area or the area east of Oakdale. There's also the large landmass area west of Patterson along Interstate 5 and east of Fairfield along Highway 12. We also have the entire states of Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico for the builders to build on. Why do we want to use up the resources that will be needed for our children and future generations? By working together, we must stop the sprawl of our Stanislaus County cities. We can grow up and not spread out. Remember, the future of our children and descendants is our responsibility. It would be senseless to build houses and warehouses on the best farmland in the world. Our land areas in the MID and TID districts are already fully economically developed. They're producing food for our state and our nation. This land will be able to produce food for our children and future generations for hundreds of years. Now is the time to shut down this senseless growth. We know now that creating a food desert in Stanislaus County would be a big mistake. God gave us nature, and we have our brains to use and think with. This is the time to start using our brains and being good ancestors for our children and our descendants. It's our responsibility. That is one of our primary responsibilities as humans. Prepare for future generations, our children, and it starts with our councils. And you are the council, and you are the ones who need to do this work and see that this is done and that we're not paving over farmland. It is, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Right
for being
thing to
here.
do.
Thank you. Next is Sebastian Jones. And Mr. Jones, before you start speaking, it is my understanding that you have requested an accommodation. We're sorry to learn that you are having difficulties communicating with us. Accordingly, after going through the accommodation process with the city, as required by law, you will be provided 5 minutes for your public comment. Welcome.
Give the Most High's your honor, and to the City Council. I thought I had it on. Start that clock back over. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Let me put a topic on this here. As born as an African American, that's all I have. The young people ain't selling crack, but selling food. Around this town we don't have but one or two. Now your officer, Chief Hero, what his name is, acted inappropriate. Now you guys know I sit on code enforcement until I got fired. You know, because I do a good job. So, but why would you put on your red and blue lights? You made a statement. It's not allowed for people to color. That's the way I take it. The young man was buying some good fish. He'll tell you I was supporting him every time he was down there. Didn't miss a beat, especially okra. But you got 7 more Latina. And he's a Latina. Why? Knowing that he's going to get a backlash if he gets to me, because he called me. I got down there quick. Listen, you guys got to understand that we got to live in this city. Why do you think I run for mayor and city council? Anything open, I'm going to run, because I'm going to show you how to run it. That's why they fired me. Because I'm good. I'm always good what I do. But I'm going to say this, Mayor, he's not used to speaking, but he's hurting. He's been detoured. Maybe some little technical things you don't look at. But the lady next to him, she was so afraid. The Latina lady, she says, I don't have no license, nothing. Lord Jesus. He just told you. I got a guy on Martin Luther King in Paradise, then took over the sidewalk, and guess who I seen her buying some food? A police officer. Well, he should have acted as code enforcement, because the machine, the cookie machine is on the sidewalk. You're deterring somebody in a wheelchair that's got to go all the way around. Okay, I'll tell you what. You guys don't really believe what I say. Come down there, and you'll see it. I don't like this mayor. Want him to sell crack? Or why he can't join this beautiful workforce and be harassed? Do you know his potential customers come by there and they see the black man being hemmed up, and the word of mouth and went out like this man frying fish fish, then murdered somebody. It's sad to have me to come down here and make this speech. Now, Jeremiah, the man said he tried to reach out to you. He's in your district. But I told him, just call Eric. That's his district. But he lives in Jeremiah district and you ignored him. Please call these people. But I told him, you know what, just meet with the mayor. She cool. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye. But that's business and politics. That's how I roll. This man is scared to get out there. I don't know. Get your business together. We'll broadcast it. Let people come out and enjoy your fish. Red snapper, catfish, okra. It's beautiful. Mayor, my advice, this police officer caused this man to lose money. I think he needs a suspension. Word up. May God bless you all and bring peace to this city. Racial sympathy is not good. I thank you for my time.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else wishing to come speak under public comment at this time?
Howdy, Mayor and Council. Kevin McClarty, District 1. So I want to talk about the unavailability of pharmacies in Modesto at night. We used to have a 24-hour Walgreens on McHenry, and that pharmacy served the patients at Doctors Hospital as well as Memorial. Well, because of the thefts that were occurring, Walgreens scaled back its hours to closing at midnight. That didn't work out because the thefts were continuing, so they scaled them back to 10 p.m. I think even scaled them back to 9 p.m. I think they closed at 9 p.m. and the pharmacies closed even earlier than that. And anyway, my understanding is that now the district attorney is strictly enforcing shoplifting laws, and that $950 free-for-all is no longer applicable, if it ever was. But this belief that you can go into a store and steal $950 worth of merchandise and have no consequences is no longer prevalent in Modesto. I understand that was going on quite readily in San Francisco, but anyway, whether or not it was true and ever was prevalent in Modesto, I really don't know, but it certainly was practiced here. And I used to see it happen myself. I'd be in Walgreens and I would see people just walk out of the store with bags full of merchandise, and the clerk would be telling him, hey, come back here. The person would just walk out. Well, anyway, you can't do that anymore. We have a very strict district attorney now, and my understanding is that the Modesto police are strictly enforcing this law. So what I'm asking the council to do is to communicate with Walgreens and with CVS and let them know that these laws are now being strictly enforced, and encourage them to revisit the idea of offering 24-hour pharmacies once again, because that no longer should be a problem in Modesto. They should be able to resume 24-hour service and not have to worry about the people walking out of the store with merchandise anymore. So is there any way that the city could get in touch with the managers of these stores and let them know that now these laws are being strictly enforced, and ask them to revisit the 24-hour pharmacies? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else under public comment for items not on the agenda?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and community members. My name is Gina Vargas, and I'm here on behalf of Ben Nuttall, who, the incident that happened on Mays. I was there at the time, and my thing was, when the officer pulled up, it was like if, it was an emergency or something, some crime was happening. We were standing right there. So he jumps out the car. Ben gives him, he asked for his credentials, he gives it to him, but he's still there. So my question was, where's code enforcement? He says that code enforcement is off on the weekend, which I feel like they should be working. And not only that, the knowledge that I have about chat, where's chat? That the city has given them, or the police department has given them millions some dollars to go out and work these cases. And I questioned the officer, but I didn't get an answer, because like the knowledge that I have, police officer says they were no longer going to go out and do these type of, incidents. They were only going to do crime, and stay right in that area. That's, the knowledge that I have is that chat was put in place to do these small, little incidents. But why isn't chat at work and they're getting paid all this money? And I understand that they're still at the police department. And where's code enforcement? So I felt like he should not have been harassed like that, the way he approached. And not only that, when he went down to talk to the other vendors, he went over there and he ran back to his car, jumped in. There was another vendor down the street. He didn't go to them. So I felt like, yes, he was targeted. I feel like that. Yes, most race motivated. Yes, that's the way I feel. Because like it has been said, you see all these people on corners selling tacos, burritos, they're selling fruit. I don't see a police officer stopping them. On Palindale, down by Tully, the guy just stopped, pulled out his little cooking stand and started. There's a whole field back there. He could have started fire. No police officer. So yes, I'm concerned about that, and I would like to hear a response. I don't want to just come up here and speak and not hear a response from you all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just to respond to that is when items come before us in public comment, these are items, especially for items that are not on the agenda, and we as a council are not allowed to, by law, respond to anything that is not on the agenda ahead of time for the public. So there's the purpose for that, and that's my response to that. Anyone else that would like to come forward regarding items not on tonight's agenda? I would appreciate, if you stay for council comments and reports, there may be some, as well as if Allison can staff can give their card, and then we can follow up and have meetings and plan that ahead of time. Thank you. Welcome.
Mayor, council, this is Jerry Thompson. Just wanted to make a comment. This week is Graffiti Week, if many doesn't know. Started officially for me Sunday. Went and watched American Graffiti at the State Theater. Then Sunday was the McHenry Village Car Show, and it's been going concurrently starting Monday all the way through the end of this week, which will be the Kiwanis grand finale, Graffiti Car Parade and Car Show. Unfortunately, even though I did register, I won't be there. I'll have to be in Nevada at my niece's graduation. But the great thing about it is, the one thing I can say about the Kiwanis, even if something like this does come up, they allow us to donate it to somebody else if they're not able to be in it or hadn't registered in time. So I was able to transfer mine over to somebody that wasn't able to be in this event. So now they're going to be able to be in my place while I'm in Nevada for my niece's graduation. So I'm glad that that's going to be able to take place. But it's going to be a lot of good activities tonight. I understand there are a bunch of them are out in Escalon Tomorrow, which I will be helping with the Pharaohs and Modesto Street Rods, we're going to have the parking of the cars for the Legend of the Cruise inductees in downtown Modesto. So if any of you are available, come by and say hi. And then Thursday, they'll be out at Cool Hand Luke's, and then Friday night will be the parade. So hopefully I could see some of you and run into you along the way, but unfortunately I won't be able to see any of you Friday or Saturday. So I know, Councilman Williams, I was hoping to see you then, but oh well. So like I said, this is going to be a great week, and then there's a lot of car activities still going to be going on throughout this month. And then Graffiti Museum, they're going to be open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend also coming up. So if people want to go in and kind of catch up on some information, if they want to know where to go to, feel free to do that too, I've been told. And then Stephen, I don't know if I can pronounce his name correctly, but Stephen Villarreal wanted me to say hi to you all from the Impalas Car Club. They've been busy and they're going to be active out there too. And then Chito Virales from the Romulus Riders Car Club wanted me to say hi to you all too, because they knew I was coming down here tonight. So they just wanted me to pass that on for them. So you guys have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else under public comment for items not on the agenda? All right. Next on the agenda is consent items. An item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? All right, please step up to the microphone.
I believe it's item 18, the one about the tree stumps. Yes, item 18. And I have questions.
All right, thank you. Will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Item 2, consider approving the minutes for the May 13th, 2025 council meeting. Item 3, consider approving final adoption of ordinance 3795 CS, approving a development agreement between the City of Modesto and Dasco Olivewood LLC regarding area plan number 6 of the Tivoli specific plan. Item 4, consider approving the City of Modesto 2-year 2025 and 2026 strategic plan as developed in coordination with the City Council. Item 5, consider approving the recommended budget adjustments to fiscal year 2024-2025 annual operating and CIP budgets. Item 6, consider approving a transient occupancy tax funding agreement with a term ending June 30th, 2030, and a Modesto Tourism Marketing District Owners Association agreement with Visit Modesto Incorporated with the term date ending June 30th, 2034 for continued tourism marketing services. Item 7, consider approving the Modesto Tourism Marketing District assessment rate change by 0.5% to 1.5% effective July 1st, 2025, and by 0.5% to 2.0% effective July 1st, 2026. Item 8, consider accepting the monthly investment report for March 2025. Item 9, consider accepting an informational report on the March and April 2025 grant applications and awards. Item 10, consider approving the fiscal year 2025-2026 appropriation limit, which is an annual spending limit calculation that identifies the maximum amount of appropriations for publicly funded programs. Item 11, consider approving a payment of various equipment maintenance agreements for fiscal year 2025-2026 multiple equipment manufacturers for all city departments for an annual amount not to exceed $888,358. Item 12, consider approving a memorandum of agreement with Oakland Fire Department for participation in California Task Force 4 of the National Urban Search and Rescue Response System. Item 13, consider approving the terms and conditions required by the California Office of Emergency Services for reimbursement of city costs for Modesto Fire Department's response to incidents outside of the jurisdiction. Item 14, consider approving an agreement with Locality Media Incorporated, DBA First Due for fire and EMS software for a total amount not to exceed $525,754 for 3 years. Item 15, consider approving the payment of software maintenance support agreements for fiscal year 2025-2026 in a total amount not to exceed $10,902,807. Item 16, consider approving renewal of the agreement with Environmental Systems Research Incorporated for the Small Government Enterprise License Agreement at $180,400 annually for a combined total amount not to exceed $541,200 over a 3-year term. Item 17, consider approving the First Amendment with Carasoft Technology Corporation of Reston, Virginia for the purchase of software programming, increasing the agreement amount by $49,867. Item 18 was removed from consent. Item 19, consider approving the Third Amendment with Univar Solutions USA, Kent, Washington for the purchase and delivery of sodium hypochlorite liquid chlorine, increasing the agreement amount by $330,594. Item 20, consider approving the agreement for spoil screenings and rock crushing services to California Rock Crushers, Ripon, California, and K&D Enterprises Incorporated, Ceres, California, for a total combined amount not to exceed $1,608,495 over 5 years. And item 21, consider approving the agreements for the hauling of non-hazardous brine with B&B Harvesting Incorporated, DBA Cal Valley Trucking, Modesto, California, and Sun Valley Transport Incorporated, Houston, California, for a combined total amount not to exceed $804,260 over 5 years.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Wright,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Bavaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Gutierrez?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. Carries 7-0. We will go back to consent item number 18 that has been pulled. This is consider approving the First Amendment with Green Tech Services LLC, Oroville, California, for tree pruning and removal services, increasing the agreement amount by $300,000, and Rumble Tree Incorporated, Modesto, California, for tree removal and stump grinding services for a total amount between both agreements combined not to exceed $6,389,350 over 5 years. And we will have a staff report. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Bill Sandu, Public Works Director. So item number 18, so a little bit history on this. As part of 24 fiscal year, there was a Measure H funding approved for these to improve our tree health, tree trimming, stump grinding, and tree removal were 3 major functions. So that was as part of 23-24 fiscal year budget. Then on October 10th of 2023, Council approved an agreement with these 2 companies, Green Tech and Rumble Trees, to perform these services. And so that was 23-24 fiscal year. Then as part of 24-25 fiscal year, that fiscal year that we are currently in, there was some additional funding approved by the council as part of budget to perform the tree maintenance work. So this agreement amendment is to accommodate that additional funding that was approved as part of 24-25 fiscal year budget. And both of these companies so far has performed to our expectations. We're happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Do council members have any questions regarding consent item 18? Seeing none, we will open this up to the public.
Okay, so what I would like to know is how many stumps are we talking about here for a total of over $6 million over 3 years? My golly, I mean, this isn't Yosemite National Park. This is Modesto. I mean, we don't have that many trees. I mean, my heavens. And also, have you considered? Am I supposed to address it to you, Mayor, or
the questions are to me and then to the council because we're the ones that are voting on this. Yes.
So then, what I would like to know is, did they consider other options, such as there is a liquid, don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know that there is a liquid that you can pour onto a stump to cause it to decay naturally without having to, remove it the way that Rumble was going to remove it. There are other alternatives to that that probably would be a lot less expensive. And then the other thing is, have you gotten other bids from other contractors besides just Rumble? Or was Rumble the only company that you went to? Am I allowed to say something about this company without, I happen to know something about them, but I don't know if I should say it.
I am not an attorney.
It's up to him.
It's up to you.
Okay, well, let's just say that, are you aware of the fact that they do not list an office location on their website? They list a P.O. box. They don't list an address. I have dealt with this company many times in the past. I've had appointments with them. They don't show up. They don't show up to Zoom meetings. And they don't apologize when they fail to show up to appointments. So I'm asking once again, did you get bids from many other companies? How did you come to the decision to hire Rumble? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your questions. If you would like to respond to the questions. I know that it covers a lot more than stumps. This talks about pruning and removal and all that, but you go right ahead and explain it.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing, I'll answer our last question first. These two companies, both of these companies were acquired through competitive bidding process. Rumbletree and Green Tech, they were the lowest bidders. So we went through the process to acquire or contract with these two companies. So as far as the number of trees go, the recent inventory shows we have about 90,000 street trees. It's, we had this most recent inventory shows that around 90,000 street trees. So we do have a lot of trees. And as far as tree trimming, stump removals, at one point we had over 2,000 stumps in the ground. So I think we're down to under 1,000 stumps now. So we made a lot of progress there. And no, we do not use any chemicals for stumps to grow, to decay, because we don't know if those chemicals are health and safety risk. These trees are out in public, children's over there and everything else. So the best way to remove those stumps is by grinding. That's the process universally used, and we use to grind those stumps. And as far as tree trimming goes, 90,000 trees, with the 5 to 7 year cycle, we need to trim about somewhere between 12 to 13,000 trees a year. So last couple of years, thanks to these contracts, we went trimming over 12,000 trees to maintain those trees healthy and their healthy tree trimming cycle. So these companies were very beneficial. Just a couple of things I want to add also. These companies performed really well on this agreement. So we're also adding some additional sites. So the water pond is adding some sites, and so wastewater is also adding some sites to this agreement also. So that's the summary of my response.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments regarding consent item number 18?
Once again, good evening, Mayor. Sebastian Jones. I thought that, I don't know, maybe about 10 years, 5 years, I thought we was gonna use the local to keep our economy going. That's what I thought. And it was signed in the order and maybe that with the old council, and maybe he can clarify. But I know that we did, well, the councilman did, said we was gonna use local because they can contribute to our income here. So I'd like a little clarification on that. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess you could respond, or if anyone that would be the best person to respond on whether the city has any ordinance or guidance for local
One thing, Mayor, are they gonna hire people in Greater Modesto? Or is everybody gonna be coming out of town and taking their money out of town? We are striving to look out for Modesto, keep the money here. But I know, coming down here over 15 years, there is something there. Now, I may be wrong, but I know that they voted on it because I was here. I don't know what year it was, but I was here.
All right, thank you. Would you like to comment? Okay.
I'll just note that Rumble is a Modesto-based company that I'm assuming employs Modesto-based employees.
All right, thank you. Do you have another comment, Bill?
Yes, for city manager mentioned that Rumble is a local company. When you go through competitive bidding process, so all companies are, even the local and non-local are authorized and allowed to bid. So we do pick the local company. In this case, luckily, one of those companies is local. Rumble is from Modesto.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from staff regarding this comment?
Mayor, maybe I could make a comment
Sure.
regarding the city does have a local hire as far as an ordinance that goes. That staff does follow the certain procedures there that ordinance requires. So Mr. Jones is correct that there was an ordinance that the city did take a vote on and adopt.
All right, thank you. Any other members of the public that would like to comment on consent item number 18?
Good evening again, Gina Vargas. I just want to know about the P.O. box. Why do they have a P.O. box and not a physical address?
Bill, if you would like to comment on that. If you know the answer, I have no idea.
So from all the data we have is they're local companies, and I don't have information why they use the P.O. Box address.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on consent item number 18? Seeing none, does the council have any comments regarding this item? Seeing none, I have a resolution approving the First Amendments with Green Tech Services LLC, Oroville, California, for tree pruning and removal services, increasing the agreement amount by $300,000 to a new total amount of $3,475,000, and Rumble Tree Incorporated, Modesto, California, for tree removal and stump grinding services, increasing the agreement amount by $1,594,350 for a new total of $2,914,350 for a total amount between both agreements combined not to exceed $6,389,350 over 5 years for both agreements, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the amendments. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Alvarez, second by Councilmember Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Gutierrez Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
And Mayor Zavala.
Aye, carries 7-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is council comments and reports. Do any council members have any comments and reports? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Kevin, I just want to let you know that Walgreens on Coffee and Stanford, or Coffee and Sylvan, is open 24 hours a day on their pharmacy drive-through, 7 days a week. So just make a note of that. Also, I want to give a little report of what's going on in the city of Modesto concerning our homeless situation. In April, our downtown street teams had 21 members, do about 337 volunteer hours. They were able to pick up 15,800 pounds of trash through our city streets and some of our parks. Modesto Gospel Mission has safe sleeping for children and women and children. They were able to accommodate 56 individuals with services, showers, food, and also some job placement. At Jenny Place, we were able to have a ribbon cutting this week at Jenny's Place, which opened up 53 units for permanent supported housing, which is going to be a great help in our community to help get people off the streets and move people into more of a permanent housing. And then today we had a grand opening for Hannah's House Gospel Mission. It's a women's and children's facility that the Gospel Mission opened up. That's going to be a big asset to the city of Modesto. They did a great job on fixing that, building up. It was a interfaith ministry building for a while, which was donated to the Gospel Mission. I think it was donated. I'm not sure. Or they purchased it, I should say. And Gospel Mission was able to convert it to I think about 40 or 50 beds for women and children, which would be really great. And also on a greater note is that this week is Graffiti Week, and we're happy to have Mackenzie Phillips will be here. I pick her up tomorrow at the airport. She's going to be here all week, and actually tomorrow night she'll be singing with Chris Murphy's band, so that should be interesting. To hear her tomorrow. So it's going to be a great week this week. I'm glad it's only going to be 93 instead of 103. It's going to be a great time on Friday night. Thank you, Mayor.
Next is Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me pull this up. Gentleman left, I believe his name was Ben. Is that correct? Okay, so I believe you mentioned something about small business loans from the city. And the city of Modesto does have a revolving loan fund in partnership with Valley First Union. And the loans range from $2,500 to $75,000. Repayments for that range from 12 to 60 months. Interest rates are 5% lower than prime, with the seal of 2.5%. So if prime is 7.5, they can get a loan at 2.5. So if he's interested in looking for monies to improve his business, he can go there. The city does provide that.
What's the name?
And also somebody mentioned, why does a company have a P.O. box? Well, I have a company and I have a P.O. box, and the reason I list my P.O. box is that's where I receive my mail. So I assume that's where Mr. Rumble probably receives his. And with the last item we heard about spending a lot of money on trees, I did the calculation. It comes out to about $70 a tree. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good deal for the city of Modesto. So that's all I have to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Next is Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to highlight what my colleague, Councilmember Wright, had already mentioned. It's Friday. The American Graffiti Classic Car Parade is going to be coming. That parade is going to be launching. I will be there in attendance. I believe several other of my colleagues will be there as well. I typically attend with my family. It's usually a family fun atmosphere. There are maps to the graffiti parade route as well to prepare at graffitisummerclassic.com. You can find maps to that parade route. Moreover, I want to highlight some of the comments that I didn't catch the gentleman's last name, but Ben made regarding the incident with
That's all right. Please go
regarding
ahead.
the incident with MPD. I'm not fully aware of what took place, but I will happily be briefed on what occurred and try to figure out if there's any, opportunity to connect for future issues like this with code enforcement or even chat. I think that's a good recommendation. I think that's what those mechanisms are for. But in the case that they were not staffed, it's understandable. In addition to that, I want to highlight the fact that there are a variety of chambers of commerce that exist in Modesto. There's the Modesto Chamber of Commerce, and then there's the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce. And I do know that there is a lack of a Chamber of Commerce specifically intended to support African American businesses. I know that there was some momentum on that a couple of years ago that I was a part of. Johnny Garcia, the CEO of the Stanislaus Latino Chamber, was also a part of. And I don't think I think that lost momentum due to the lack of participation from the community. But I also know that there is interest in reviving that or spearheading that effort. So I would recommend that that gentleman and his business partners connect with Johnny Garcia and at the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce to get briefed on where it's at, and particularly as it pertains to the African American Chamber of Commerce. I also know that there's an African American Chamber of Commerce in San Joaquin County, and I would happily connect that gentleman to their executive director myself. So if he can get in touch with me, I'd greatly appreciate that. So that way I can do him that service personally. But yeah, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Welcome. Chris Ricky, Councilmember Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. First of all, on the Walgreens issue, I know that Walgreens says that they are having issues with inventory, but if you've been in a Walgreens recently, pretty much all the inventory is locked up. So then you have to push a little button if you need something. So I don't think they're having any trouble with inventory. I think the real issue, if you read up on it, is just like they're having labor issues. They're not paying people. They're not taking care of their pharmacists, and the pharmacists are leaving. And they're having trouble keeping the labor going. So what's really going on, that's what's really going on with Walgreens. And so I don't know that the city can do much about it. All right, other stuff. The firefighters park that we've been working on for the past several years is coming together with a lot of help from the developers, D.R. Horton, and the Modesto Firefighters Union, obviously. And now they're selling commemorative bricks that you can get online right now to remember a firefighter or celebrate a memory. So if you want to go to Bricks R Us, that's bricks, the letter R, us.com, /donor site /MCFFA. You can get yours there, and it's an awesome place to support the kids. It was pretty awesome to be at the opening of Jenny's Place this week with the mayor, Councilmember Wright, and Councilmember Williams. I'm thrilled with the partnership with the Center for Human Services to manage the facility. This time with 53 units that will keep more homeless off the streets, which is awesome. When it comes to homelessness and trying to find solutions, Modesto doesn't give up, and we're not done. And we'll keep working on new projects until we get a handle on this, and until we get this crisis under control. Cal Cities has made a full court press recently opposing SB 79, which is a bill that will force Bay Area cities to allow housing near transportation hubs like BART and Muni. While this has no impact on Modesto whatsoever, somehow Modesto opposed it. This bill would have reduced Bay Area transplants, but due to Cal City's obsession with local control, they opposed it. Cities were probably the biggest cause of the homeless crisis by consistently opposing housing for decades. And Cal Cities continues to prove that they've learned nothing by opposing thoughtful legislation. And finally, I'm excited at the reopening of the Dry Creek Trail. Modesto's trail system is a community treasure, and this resurfacing is an example of the city's commitment to creating fun and healthy ways to get out into our community and move. I'm looking forward to more work on the trail system, including the much anticipated extension of the Virginia Trail. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Escudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. This past week, I had the honor and privilege of attending a birthday party on behalf of the council. In fact, I attended the 100th birthday of Miss Tilly Villa, and I was delighted to be there to present her with a certificate of appreciation on behalf of the city and the city council. And she was a lovely birthday person, with her lovely bonnet and her lovely birthday dress and her birthday sash. She was surrounded by family and friends, and it was just a celebratory occasion. So once again, I hope she has the happiest of birthdays, and congratulations to our newest centennial in Modesto. Also, I'm delighted that the City of Modesto currently has what's called a widget on their website. On their homepage, they have a section, a very prominent section at the top of the website that indicates the weather and, more importantly, air quality and humidity. So if you are a parent, active and busy with life like we all are, and you have to go to the city website to find out how you're from a disadvantaged community, perhaps, and you go to the city website to figure out how to pay your bill. But in addition to that information, you also get quick access to air quality, and it compounded if you have a child or a family member who has compromised lung capacity or asthma. This information is vital. So once again, the city is quick to respond to providing information to our community for their well-being. So I'm delighted that the City of Modesto has stepped up to have that very in a prominent space on their web page. Also, something that they have on their web page that I want to make sure that everyone's well informed is the summer activity guide. This is a document that's online and in print fashion throughout various locations in the city, and it provides so much information on how to keep our families active this summer. I have children. We all want really fun family activities. Many of them are free. This is a beautiful guide that I encourage everyone to go to and access and find out fun summer activities that they could do for their children, for their elderly, and for their families as a whole. Lots of great diverse activities throughout the summer. Again, I encourage you to do so. And I am saddened that I will not be able to join my colleagues in the community in celebrating this weekend's graffiti activities, as I will be out of town attending a national conference for the National Association of Regional Councils, and that is the reason why at the next council meeting I will be participating remotely. Thank you.
All right, Jeremiah, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I want to take a moment for the officer in Los Angeles, Samuel Rivas, I believe that's how you say his name, who was shot in the line of duty. And my thoughts and prayers, even though it wasn't here in Stanislaus County or Modesto, it still was a law enforcement officer who was sworn to serve and protect. And so we won't be taking a moment of silence for him, but did want the rest of the California to know that we do care about all of our law enforcement. And now moving on to Jenny Canoia. Jenny Canoia's daughter, Pam, and her husband, the Newmans, they were very kind enough to, that the Jenny's Place is opened up, 54 units, supporting units. And while we were talking at the ribbon cutting, they had spoke about a particular piece of artwork that was done in memory of her that will go to Jenny's Place and be hung in the office there on 710 9th Street. And it just wanted to show what Jenny has done for our community, and that is what she has done, so many different avenues of greatness that she has done for us. And it's an honor to know that she was honored to have her name on this particular endeavor for housing and taking care of people. So thank you, Council Member or Vice Mayor Bravaro, for holding that up. Also this weekend, of course, you all know Graffiti Weekends on Friday starts at 5:30. We did back up the time from 6 to 5:30 this coming Friday for the graffiti cruise. All I would like to say as well is everyone please be careful and definitely obey all the laws of the land, particularly in Modesto. It is somewhat of a private event, but it is a city event as well. So please be careful, enjoy yourself, and enjoy your families. Also, Mayor, I wanted to bring up something that I forgot several weeks back with Love Modesto. I reminded myself that Councilmember Chris Rickey was out there with me, and we did a lot of wonderful things together, taking photos and having a good time with all of the individuals up and down McHenry Avenue. So I want to thank my colleague for being out there on that particular day. And I'm sorry I didn't get to you in April, and here we are in June. But there's a few other things. As far as Benjamin, he did reach out to me. He asked me about a vendor, asked me about vending applications and pop-ups. I had no idea that anything else had took place. I did not get any information from that. I also did not get any information from Terrence at all about the situation. And there is a African American Chamber of Commerce, and Chichi Jack is who is responsible for that. And you can find it on the website, on Facebook, and you can join online during that way. But as people call me for different things for vending, assume that it's going to be for some event and that we're connected with, and so I transfer that information on to the people who we have in charge of those particular things. Moving right along, Mayor, also I want to make sure I got it all here. That should conclude everything, and hopefully everyone will enjoy themselves at our graffiti car show on Sunday at the West Campus, and Saturday. We will be receiving cars about 6 a.m. in the morning, and it will be a great event. There is a charge at the gate, but you will enjoy yourself with great food, nice cars, and sorry, Jerry, you're not going to be able to make it. You just broke my heart, my friend. But Betty, you're going to be there, right? Okay, then that's all that matters. You can go wherever you want to go, Jerry. All right, thank you, Mayor.
All right, you're welcome. I attended a few events I'd like to share with you. That one was really inspiring at Howard Prep, Community Gathering of Heroes. This is a place that provides a path to independence for people that have special needs. We celebrated 150 years of our Modesto Fire Department with the opening of an exhibit at the Modesto Museum. And everyone's invited to go by and honor our firefighters and see a little bit about the history over the past 150 years in the city of Modesto. Regarding our law enforcement officers, we honored Bobby Volk's life. He died in 1973, and every year we meet in front of the Modesto Police Department with a very loving and special honor for him and his life. He is not forgotten. Even after all these years, family members attend, and I always appreciate the fact that we recognize our officers who have lost their lives. Ginny's Place, there's been quite a bit said about that. That was really great to participate in that ribbon cutting. We had state officials as well as many other people join for that wonderful event. There is a new educational native bird plaque that is very interesting. It is on the Virginia Corridor Trail right at Bodum by Beard Elementary School, and we unveiled that last Friday. And this is in connection with the City of Modesto and the Audubon Society, and our Culture Commission as well. So if you have an opportunity, stop by, look at some of the beautiful pictures of the birds and learn about them in our community. It was really a great celebration. The people that organized it were so thrilled that there were so many people in attendance and a lot of interest. I had the opportunity to speak at Modesto City Schools Adult Education Graduation. And why I mention that is where 412 adults received their high school diplomas. And they were so happy. The smiles abounded. Councilmember Williams joined me. He sang the national anthem, and it was really that hot evening, but a great celebration. It was short and sweet, and a lot of smiles around. And I started my graffiti week on Sunday at the Modesto Area Street Rod Association event at McHenry Village. There was lots of sparkle and beautiful paint and chrome, and we're off to a great week. That's it for me. Does the city manager have any comments and reports?
Thank you, Mayor. I can't speak to the website of Rumble and why they have a P.O. box, but I will note that our bidding requirements require a physical address to be on all of their documents, and Rumble does list a Modesto address on Amy Avenue in our bid packet for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is hearings, item 22. A hearing to consider an informational report of vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts to comply with Assembly Bill 2561. And we will have a staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Christina Alger, Director of Human Resources. So item 22 is to review the status of vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts on behalf of the City of Modesto. So just a little background, this Assembly Bill 2561 was signed by Governor Newsom in September of 2024. And what it requires local governments to come to council every year prior to the budget adoption and report out on vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts. This was done to hopefully help local agencies with their recruitment efforts. They see the high vacancy results in a lot of agencies, and so this is a way the state is trying to help us combat that. So this particular slide really just shows you a little snapshot of our workforce for the year 2024. This is the calendar year. And so just of note, we had 1,391 employees January 1st of 2024. We ended 2024 with 1,435. That's a difference of about 44 positions. It's an increase of 31.6%. And you can also see by department how many allocations we have in each of those. So this slide depicts the vacancy rate by department. And so the vacancy rate is taking the number of allocations a department has. You're dividing that by the number of vacancies that you have at that particular time. And so citywide, we had a vacancy rate of 9%, which is actually a very good number. Anything below 10% is considered a good number. So you can also see by department, some of the smaller departments have larger percentages, but that's because they have fewer allocations, and so each position is a higher percentage of their staff. This next slide shows you the vacancy rate by bargaining unit. And so as you can see, these are the different bargaining units that we have within the city. So we have Modesto City Employees Association at 7.7%, Modesto City Firefighters at 3.9%, Modesto Confidential and Management Association at 10.7%, MPNSA 25.5%, and I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. MPOA, which is our Modesto Police Department, is our Modesto Police Officers Association, apologies, is 3.6%. Our unrepresented staff at a 4.1%, and then a grand total of 9%. So part of MPNSA, which is our Modesto Police and Fire Non-Sworn Association, is a set of allocations that were created in the budget that were pass-through allocations. And so police officer recruits were created just as a pass-through, not to ever be completely filled. And so they were just to help us with the recruitment of police officers and bringing them into the organization. And so with that, if you remove those, their percentage is actually 17.2%. And out of that, CSOs, which are community service officers, is 5.2% of that. Park rangers at 3%, and police support specialists at 4.5%. So some turnover statistics for the organization. So our turnover rate, and that's calculated by the number of exits we have in the organization divided by the number of people that we have. And so 9.7%, which is actually a very good turnover rate. Our retirements were down 17.2%. Our voluntary resignations were down 10.3% from the prior year. And our staffing levels were up 79.8%. And so staffing levels, what we're looking at is how many people exit versus how many people we're hiring. And so we're hiring more than those that are exiting. So a little bit more recruitment data here, just the time to hire. And so we looked at our recruitments for 2024. And from the time a requisition is started for a recruitment, and that's the request from the department to hire, to the time a final offer is made and that employee starts, our average days is 87.6% or 87.6 days. This includes things like pre-employment background checks, pre-employment physicals, and all of the things that go into hiring a person. So other items of note here, applications for that year, we received 16,682 applications. The most applications were received at our Modesto Police Department at 3739, and then we have an administrative pool of positions that are used citywide, and those received 3355 applications. Of note, 129 recruitments during the year. So tactical recruitment strategies, which is part of the requirement here to report out on. So we employed multiple strategic requirement initiatives to ensure that we're attracting the highest quality candidates. So things like customizing our job postings and giving them information about incentives that they can earn and future wages to help entice people to apply. Holding open house events to educate people in the public on what public service is, what it's like to work for a local government agency, and just what are those various career opportunities that we have. And so of note of that, we did participate in 6 job fairs, including 3 high schools, CSU Stanislaus, and Ceres Adult School, as just some examples of the things that we participate in. But we did participate in various community events. We also partner with community organizations such as EEDE, El Concilio, Opportunity Stanislaus, Volt, and others to try to partner to get our recruitments out and let them be known. We also assist candidates in the application process and ensure that they understand the requirements and help them get through that process so they can get hired. So some retention statistics here on the slide. So our average tenure across the organization for employees is about 8 years. We have a retention rate of 90.1%, and anything over 90% is considered really good. I also have a robust training program which helps us to retain our employees. So we had over 560 unique employees go through our training programs during that year. And we also had 79 internal promotions that happened as part of that. So the staff recommendation tonight really is just a motion accepting the informational report on our vacancy rates, recruitment, and retention efforts to comply with this new assembly bill. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you for your presentation. Any questions from council members? Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know this may not be applicable to what it's here, but I'm just curious if you knew or know. Where were we in 2022 to now on this?
In terms of vacancy rate or turnover,
Yeah,
I can tell you turnover. So
Okay.
our turnover rates have actually decreased quite a bit over the last several years.
Okay.
We were running about an 11, 12% in 2022.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions from council members regarding item 22? Seeing none, I will now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding this item? Seeing none, I will close public comments. Any council member comments? Seeing none, I have a motion accepting can I have a motion accepting the informational report on vacancy rates, recruitment and retention efforts to comply with Assembly Bill 2561?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilmember Scudia-Brayton. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez? And Mayor Zwellen.
Aye, carries 7-0. Thank you. Next is item 23, a hearing to consider and approve the final proposed fiscal year 2025-26 operating and multi-year non-capital budgets and capital improvement program for the city and related resolutions. And we will have a staff presentation. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Steve Christensen, Office of Performance Management and Budget Director. So tonight is the culmination of a year-long process for the budget. We will start with opening remarks from the city manager.
Thanks, Steve. Good evening, Mayor and council and members of our community. Thanks to the dedication and diligence of our city staff working in close collaboration with the mayor and city council, we are before you presenting the city's budget for fiscal year 25-26 with a look ahead to fiscal year 26-27. In preparation for submitting a balanced budget, we align the general fund and Measure H budgets with the strategic planning priorities of the city council, which includes adopting strategies to ensure fiscal responsibility with taxpayer dollars. Despite the increased revenue from Measure H, we are presenting a budget that has been heavily scrutinized and reconciled against past expenditures and future needs. With a changing economic landscape and a current level of uncertainty, the city continues to be proactive and adaptive to effectively manage its budget for sustainable growth and effective risk management. This approach ensures the preservation of providing essential services and creates opportunities for economic development for a thriving Modesto, even in the event of an economic downturn. The city is committed to building a solid financial foundation, growing at an adequate pace without overextending our resources, and maintaining a balanced budget. Thanks to Measure H, the city is still able to increase those service levels in this budget that were not possible several years ago. From improving parks to fixing sidewalks and increased tree trimming, the city is still able to address the years of deferred maintenance and improve the quality of life for our residents. The city continues to remain resilient and to develop forward-thinking strategies that uphold the trust of our community to responsibly allocate the taxpayer dollars in a manner that is transparent, responsive, and effectively meets the essential needs of Modesto residents. We remain confident in our ability to sustain our daily operations without compromise and to continue to invest in financial pathways for future growth. This growth is seen in our current efforts to seek out all sports and entertainment options for our city, which will enrich the lives of our residents and transform the city's progress towards economic development in the future. I would like to take a moment to thank our staff, Steve, Casey, and all of the departments who had played an instrumental role in preparing this city budget and their unwavering commitment to building trust through transparency, communication, and quality services for the residents of Modesto. With that, I'll turn it back to Steve.
Thank you, Joe. So first we'll start with just a brief summary of the budget process timeline. So if you'll remember when we had the workshops in January and February, we talked about moving to a 2-year budget timeline or budget process. So real briefly, kind of recapping that and what that looks like. So we started in October, starting the budget process for the 2-year budget process. Really what that looks like is we would have a year 1 adoption of the budget with a projected second year. So again, that's what we're doing tonight, adopting that first year of the budget in that June 2025. Year 2, we'll start refining that second year of the projected budget that we were presenting with this budget. So we will refine that. We will go through the same process in the mid-cycle update, which is really when we would bring back, we would have the same process, we would go through those retreats next year in 2026. So in that January, February timeline, we would have the council retreats to set budget priorities, if there's any refinement that the council wants to do to the strategic plan. Because if you remember, we moved to that 2-year strategic plan to have the synergy between the strategic plan and the budget, with both being on the 2-year timeline. And then we would go into that second year and have an adoption of that second year of the budget. Because again, per our charter, we have single year adoptions of the budget. So just recapping what that 2-year budget timeline is. Tonight, we're only adopting 1 year of the budget. What that looks on it, that 1 year of the budget, it's a little bit small, but we have the October, March, all the operating budgets are developed by the departments, capital, non-capital budgets. We have the January, February council retreats where your budget priorities were defined to really set the kind of the, I don't want to say market for the public hearing of the draft or the final proposed budget. So June, tonight, we'll adopt the budget, and then that'll set the budget for the new year, for the fiscal year, starting July 1st of 2025. I always forget I have this animation, sorry. Fiscal year 25-26, we'll go ahead and talk about the proposed operating budget. We'll start with the revenues. Some of the highlights here, again, we have a total revenue budget of $199.9 million. A lot of the revenues are increasing in the general fund. Property tax increasing, our utility user tax, business license mill tax increases. The major one that is seeing a heavy hit is sales tax. We'll have a chart kind of illustrating that of where we were headed and where we are projecting now. But again, a lot of that is tied to the economy and what we're seeing in impacts of inflation. Tariffs continue to be an issue in terms of what we're dealing with on the constantly changing issues there in tariffs and what the impacts are going to be in terms of the local economy. But we are seeing impacts into the sales tax and the future projections there. But again, a lot of the other revenues increasing, again, property tax being our major revenue driver now in terms of the general fund. This is the chart that I want to illustrate. So in terms of sales tax, this is a pretty big impact for us. So our sales tax dollars there, you can see in the actuals that we've had since 2018-19 all the way to 23-24. You can see our projected numbers in 24-25. The blue column is where we were projected at prior to what we're seeing now in the local economy. And then that orange color is where we're projecting now. So really the tale that we're showing here, or the story that we're showing, is we were on a trajectory where our sales tax revenues were increasing pretty heavily or pretty steadily over the next 3 years through 26-27, where they were going up to about $42.6 million. Now, again, with what we're seeing in the local economy with impacts of inflation, they've decreased drastically. So where we're going to 42.6 million in 26-27, they're now down to 36.2 million. Over those 3 years, that's a decrease of about 16.9, call it $17 million. So that's a pretty big impact on sales tax alone, and that's just one revenue category in the general fund. Later on, when we talk about Measure H sales tax and what we're seeing there, there'll be a slight decrease in that area as well. In terms of expenditures, so expenditures continue to increase in the general fund. A lot of that is driven through our salaries and benefits for employees. Pension costs continue to rise. So our pension that we pay for salaries and benefits for employees, but the UAL, the unfunded accrued liability, increases. I know we've talked about it during the Finance Committee budget workshops. There was a presentation about how eventually we'll see a peak there. I think it was in early 2030s, so 2033, 2034, and then that peak will slowly, will drastically drop after that time period, but we still have a little bit of ways as we're dealing with the pension cost for the unfunded accrued liability there. As we go through this chart, you can see in the current proposed year, it's the second to last column there and highlighted in blue. Balanced budget. This includes the additional funding that was proposed in the Finance Committee budget workshops for the Gallo sponsorships and the sponsorships for the Garden Club. That added additional dollars to there for, I think it was $25,000 for Gallo and $25,000 for the Garden Club. That was proposed by the Finance Committee during that time. So that is included in the budget. But one of the things you can see, and one of the reasons why we switched to this, is to show that projected year in the two-year budget process. So we still have some work to do in terms of the 26-27 projected budget. You can see on that yellow line on the bottom, there is still a deficit that's showing in the out years. But like we do every year when we come back for the adopted budget in 26-27, when we bring that to Finance Committee, that will be balanced, and we will have the ways that we come up with balancing that budget. For non-Measure H, proposed adjustments, there were a few of them. So there was a addition of $50,000 for an economic development strategic plan implementation. Said that wrong. Economic development strategic plan implementation plan. That was $50,000 for out of the general fund to the Community Economic Development Department for that. And there were some additional adjustments in non-general fund areas for converting a part-time construction inspector to a full-time, addition of a operations crew leader position, and then a water resource analyst position as well in the utilities department. In terms of Measure H, so for Measure H, there were some additional approved spendings on new programs, which we'll go over in the next slide. There were the additional or the prior year approved spending for Measure H that is included. So these are items that include like the money that we're continuing forward for forestry. So the tree trimming, the outside contractors for the removal of stumps, the positions that have been improved in prior years. Obviously, those will be ongoing funding. So that makes up about $25 million. We have the general fund budget amount to close the deficit in this current fiscal year. That was $11.6 million. And then there was also a supplement of the ARPA loss funding, which was about $2 million. So if you remember when we had ARPA funds, there was $2 million going to the general fund from ARPA to pay for the public safety area. So that is being covered now by Measure H. So that brings the total money going from Measure H to general fund of about $13.6 million. Total funds in Measure H spending for 25-26 is $53 million. Of that amount, there's a one-time amount of about $10.9 million. So not all of that is being dedicated from the Measure H revenue coming in fiscal year 25-26. Some of that will be coming from the fund balance in that one-time cost. Going forward, on the new items that have been proposed in the spending plan, some of the bigger items we have here are funding for the remaining funding for the Cesar Chavez Park, a large amount for the Martin Luther King Park renovation project. That's the large piece of it, the $7.8 million. We have some additional equipment for the fire department, some radio maintenance program funding, wildland web gear funding. There's an armored vehicle purchase for the police department. The current one they have is, I believe it's over 20 years old. 20 years old, Chief's giving me the nod. So that vehicle is in need of replacement for the SWAT team. And then we have the rentable community stage purchase as well for additional funding in the Parks Department. And you can see the other items as well that we have there for movement of some of the items from the general fund to there, and that are expansion of programs similar to what we did in the previous fiscal year, where we moved like traffic safety. So one of the things that we're doing is moving area command, and then I believe it's the air support operations as well into Measure H as those programs expand. There's the addition of 5 police officer positions that will go into the Measure H funding as well in this new proposed spending for 25-26. So the total there is $13.6 million. And then you can see the breakdown of the one-time and the ongoing expenses at the bottom. So here's the similar slide that we had for the general fund sales tax. You can see some decreases there in terms of the Measure H side as well. Not as large of an impact. It's about $9 million over those 2 years, but we're not seeing as large of an impact just because of the way Measure H sales tax is generated for the city. I won't get too much into the details. I know we've talked a lot about this in the Finance Committee budget workshops, but for Measure H, we do receive all online sales, point of sales. They come for Measure H as opposed to the general fund. It goes into a county-wide pool, so we don't receive the total amount coming back for point of sale online sales. So not as large of an impact on Measure H sales tax in terms of the impacts of inflation and things like that, but still substantial, or still a hit over the next 2 years in terms of where we were projecting and then what we're seeing now. And then I'm going to bring Casey up to talk about the other major funds in the non-general fund areas and the CIP.
Hi, good evening. Casey Culbertson, Budget Manager. I'm going to go over some of the other major funds. So we talked a lot about the general fund and the Measure H fund, but we also have a number of major funds within the city. This chart here gives a breakdown of some of the large ones, and in the blue column you'll see what we're proposing for fiscal year 25-26, and then in the orange reddish column you'll see what we're projecting for 26-27. So we're currently proposing $78.5 million for the water fund, just under $55 million for the wastewater fund. For solid waste, we're proposing $18.7 million. That also includes solid waste, green waste, and compost. Within surface transportation, it's just under $19 million. Keep in mind all of the operations for the surface transportation funds are tied to our gas tax money that we receive from the state, also our Senate Bill 1 RMRA funds as well. Within the storm drain fund, we've got $8.6 million, and then within our capital improvement support fund, it's at $7.8 million being proposed. The expenditures for the capital improvement support fund are reimbursed really through a lot of grants, through a lot of projects that are being charged by the engineers, by the construction inspectors. So we recover that money through our Caltrans indirect rate. And then overall for our proposed 25-26 operating budget, the total citywide budget is at $639 million. This includes, you'll notice on the top part, the $199 million in expenditures related to the general fund. A couple of the other ones I wanted to mention, so the Measure H spending plan expenditures of $53 million, that's going to be our ongoing and our one-time expenditures, so the total. And then our employee benefits admin at $42 million. That includes the pass-through for our PERS UAL payment. And our insurance funds at $25 million. That's going to be also all of our costs related to our payments related to medical, dental, and vision as well. Going into our capital improvement program, we had our meeting on May 19th, the Joint Planning Commission Finance Committee meeting, where we did a deep dive into a number of the projects. So as part of the capital improvement program, we've got 186 total projects that are part of the CIP. We have 7 projects that are classified as new. This is just projects that are overall increasing the CIP by $11.87 million. I do want to let the group know, total of those 186 projects, we have about $279 million in available budget. So there's quite a bit of a budget. Those projects roll, they're ongoing. So as we establish those budgets, we're only adopting the increases or the decreases. The 7 projects, a majority of them are Measure L tied. Within the first one, the capital grant, street CIP, the $7.1 million, about half of that funding is tied to Measure L. The other half is related to Caltrans grants. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Steve for the staff recommendations.
So before I put the staff recommendations, I'll just take the time to thank again my staff and Casey and all the department staff. But I do want to thank council for all your work in the workshops and all your attention to this during the process. I know we throw a lot of information at you every year, but you all have been great, and your questions have been really thoughtful, and you've been really attentive through the entire process. So I just really want to thank council, the mayor, through this lengthy process that we go through every year, for your attention to all the detail that we provide. So I just want to thank you before we move on to your questions, and I'll just leave the staff recommendations up there.
All right. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for your work.
Yeah.
Does council have any questions of staff regarding item 23? All right. I will now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding this item?
Loretta Carhart. Sorry I'm so slow, but I am. I have a question to ask, and I
Can you
haven't
pull the
been-
microphone down so we can hear you?
You mean you can't hear me? Boy.
Now we can.
Okay, I want to know, how may a company charge sales taxes on property taxes? And I want to know that. I can't find out, so I'll ask this time.
All right. Can you say your question again?
I want to know how a company can charge on sales tax, or on property taxes rather, on our yearly sales tax papers.
Okay.
When I pay my taxes each year, down at the bottom of our regular taxes, there's sometimes, some other people have had it too, where we've got other things put on there. Mine was when the company charged and put, I think it was $3,000 something every year for 6 years. And this happened to have been a company that did work at my home. And I did not sign for it to go on there. I've asked several times about it and found out nothing at all. And I want to know how that company was able to do this, and they're a well-known company.
All right. This is, our public comments are regarding just this item, 23. And so
It is Measure H.
Okay, so what I would like for you to do, I'm going to ask Allison to connect with you, and maybe we can help you individually to look at your tax bill.
Thank you.
I think that would be the best solution. All right, any other comments from the public regarding item 23? Seeing none, I will close public comments. Any council member comments regarding this item? Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to make a comment that you may wonder why we're not asking questions. And the reason is because we go through the budget workshops, we go through budget briefings, and by the time we get to this place, all of our questions have been answered. So if you're wondering why we're going to look at over a $500,000 budget, $600,000 budget, and we're just not asking questions, that is the reason why. And I just wanted to communicate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Scudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Indeed, I am all questioned out. I think I have asked what feels like several hundred questions throughout this process. But congratulations to you and your mighty team for coming and concluding this very intricate, complex process, which is presenting to our community a balanced budget. It's a very thoughtful budget. It's a very fiscally conservative budget. It's a budget that really takes public safety into account. And I know that the entire process that you articulated spanned an entire year, was very transparent in being inclusive of public comment. It was open to the public throughout the process. And we dove deep into fiscal issues. And I was, as chair of the Finance Committee, I'd like to thank my fellow colleagues on the Finance Committee and the council as a whole, asking those really hard questions so that we could be fiscally responsible for our money here at City Modesto. And thank you for heading that up, and thank you for getting us to this point with a balanced, why can't I say that? Balanced budget. That's just fiscally prudent and really a wonderful budget for our community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to thank your department, Steve, for everything that you all are doing. And then I believe this is the first part of the rollout for the 2-year budget. And I think that's going to work out really, really well. And look forward to more good work from you and your team. So thank you.
All right. I still see 2 names. Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to correct myself. I said $500,000. Actually, it's $500 million or more, 658.
Más o menos.
Más o menos. A few here, a few there. But I also wanted to thank Steve and his department for providing all the information to the Finance Committee chaired by Rosa and to the council, so we were able to ask questions on behalf of the people of Modesto. Thank you.
All right, I also wanted to comment to thank you and your staff. Also, all of the directors of the departments, I know that their input obviously is what makes this happen, and as well as our fire chief and police chief. That's how this happens. But I also want to thank our city manager, because I know that the time, I see there, I'm right next door, the time and effort that is spent between you, Stephen, and Joe is a lot. And the work has not gone unnoticed, and I really appreciate that. So I wanted to thank you publicly for that, to our city manager, as well as to you, Stephen. All right, I thank you very much. I have 4 resolutions, and we can vote on all of them at one time, so I will read them. We have a resolution approving the adoption of the fiscal year 2025-26 annual and multi-year non-capital operating budgets and the 2025-26 capital improvement program for the City of Modesto and the related inter-fund transfers. A resolution approving the budget principles and the operating budget policy as outlined in the fiscal year 2025-26 final proposed budget. A resolution amending the position classification plan for the City of Modesto to create new classifications and amend existing classifications. A resolution amending the position allocation for fiscal year 2025-26 as adopted in the operating budget. Do I have a motion?
It'd be my honor to make a recommendation to approve all the motions as you stated for a balanced budget.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Escudia-Brayton, second by Vice Mayor Bavaro, and will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. Carries unanimously. Are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I am calling this meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.